Well, I am here going live. Today is my birthday, so I figured I would jump on here and talk with you guys. So we'll just see who decides to show up. This recording is not going to be staying up more than likely. So, what up, Doc Mac? Hope you're having a wonderful time. OG, thanks. I'm hitting the 30, the 30. Clerks, dude. Mr. C75 757. What up? Well, gee, thanks there, Doc Mac. Wow, I got super chats on. I literally had no idea that was an option. That's you, Doc Mac. That is literally the very first super chat I have ever gotten. So I appreciate that, my guy. That's pretty cool. Well, I hope you guys are all having a wonderful Monday, and I hope you had a awesome Thanksgiving. I ate myself to death, like usual. My mom is an amazing cook. She cooks so well. I don't know how she does it. I'm a horrible cook. I can't cook to save my life. I can, heat up some chicken breasts and, heat up some rice and throw a bag of frozen vegetables in the microwave and I mix it all together. That's basically my way of cooking. So to eat my mom's dishes are just, they're so good. They're so freaking good. Thank you for all the birthday wishes, everybody. Yes, Doc Mac, really. That is the thing. Very first one. So that's a badge of honor, sir. Congratulations. But I figure I'd get on here, just chat with you guys, see what's up. There's a few things, a few new developments, I guess you could say, with Gobekli Tepe. I mean, they're not necessarily new, but unless you've been, keeping up with it, you wouldn't know. So we'll talk about that a little bit. Talk about some things going on in my life right now. I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do come next year because, we're doing, you do like the New Year's resolution type of thing. Well, I'm actually going to try this year, you know what I'm saying? You can always put forward the idea of like, oh yeah, I'm totally going to like do this for my New Year's resolution. And then you get to like January 2nd and you're like, yeah, that's, about that. But we'll do some talking. The Black Swordsman, happy B-Day. May your special wishes come true. Appreciate that, my guy. Very good. Swan Kipling, happy birthday. Thank you so much. My wife's grandma crapped herself after eating an entire pecan pie. Wow. That's intense. My mom makes like this chocolate pecan pie. That is just, oh my gosh. It is so remarkably good. It's amazing. She puts like, I don't even know what she puts, like she cooks it with bourbon apparently and like chocolate chips and stuff. Pecan pie is straight up crack cocaine is basically what it comes to. But Tanya Womack, I'm sorry if I totally botched that. Happy birthday. Mine was Saturday, 50. Oh boy. I'm not there yet, obviously. I'm 30. I hit the 30 today. It's actually I'm not 30 yet. At 11 p.m. I will be 30. So we'll be on here for that. So we'll see how it goes. But very cool. Doc Mac, I served in Iraq and was pressed when Baghdad Museum was looted. You were there when it was? Oh my gosh. I was serving in Iraq and was present when Baghdad Museum was looted. Saw a lot of crazy culturally significant things in Afghanistan and saw towering figures carried into rock. Yeah, dude, that's crazy. Those videos are so depressing of like watching all of them, all those statues and all those artifacts being like broken up and torn down and chiseled up into bits and pieces. It's so painful to watch. Like, oh my gosh. And honestly, it's just a testament of, the idea that an entire culture, an entire civilization, an entire chapter of history can be erased by our own hands. And that's one of those things I don't think a lot of people really consider a lot. How many people have been conquered and how many conquerors have completely just destroyed the previous civilization that the previous people. Oh, that's so painful. Like watching like those dudes like with the jackhammers going at it on the dang, what are they called? Like the bull, it's got like the human head with the bull body or whatever, I'm talking about, I think. And just knocking down the statues. Oh, it's so it's so horrible. Horrible stuff. But so I want to talk about this because this was some news we learned a while ago. So Gobekli Tepe, and I don't really have my screen set up here to really show you guys this, but so Gobekli Tepe, they installed like this canopy thing over top of the enclosures to protect people from the sun and the site. And while they were digging for the foundations of this canopy, they found basically settlement or like evidence where people were actually living in this area. They had grinding stones. They found evidence of living quarters and stuff like that. Like there's another area called Karen Tepe that could possibly be older than Gobekli Tepe, where this was an actual settlement where people were living there permanently. Now, there's still no evidence that they were agriculturally, doing agriculture and stuff like that. But just the fact that there is a permanent settlement in Turkey 11,000, 12,000, likely older than that, years ago, completely just throws a lid off of so many things. Like Gobekli Tepe is such a major disruption to the official archaeological narrative or historical narrative of like what humans were doing. And it's just amazing. And the thing is, we don't know until we dig it out of the ground. So who knows what else is underneath the ground? And you get these people that are like, oh, well, that didn't exist. This is impossible. None of this has ever happened. Well, they can't say that anymore with the new discoveries that have been made at Gobekli Tepe. And it's just frustrating. I don't know if you guys have seen yet, but Graham Hancock has a new series out on Netflix called Ancient Apocalypse. And he's getting a lot of flack for that right now. He's getting all of the arrows shot at him right now. And I don't agree with Graham Hancock on everything. I do think he does have ideas that are, kind of out there with his opinions and whatnot. But what I like about Graham Hancock is the disrupting of the archaeological world. He's a wrench being thrown into the cogs, and they can't stand it. And it's so entertaining to watch, in all honesty. Doc Mac, after it was looted, they literally sold us the stuff they looted in the streets at shops. It was upsetting. Wow. One of my interpreters in Iraq was a geologist before the war. He said that he believed humanity had settlements in Mesopotamia as far back as 25,000 years ago. I would not be surprised, in all honesty. And, at what point does a settlement become a civilization? Like, what is the thing that has to happen in order for a civilization to take place? Let me just Google that real quick. Let's see. What makes a civilization? Let's just see what the Google has to say. Civilization. All civilizations have certain characteristics. These include large population centers, monumental architecture and unique art styles, shared communication and strategies, systems for administering territories, a complex division of labor, and the division of people into social and economic classes. So just on a basic Google search, agriculture is not even on the list there. So are we able to say that Gobekli Tepe was a civilization? But based off of that definition, I think we absolutely can. Because we know that there were settlements there. We know it was a permanent place where they were living. And it completely demolishes the idea that hunter-gatherers are the ones who built Gobekli Tepe, because it wasn't. Well, correction. Yes, they were very likely hunting and gathering, but not in the sense of like the hunter-gatherers that we think of, just living as nomads wandering the plains. No, these people were like there all the time. I mean, obviously, you don't build gigantic stone erected circles over, just a few years. I mean, it took hundreds of years probably to build everything that's underneath the ground at Gobekli Tepe right now. But you have a Damascus dagger that came from that museum. That's intense, bro. Thank you, Robert Huffin. I think that's how you say that. Excuse me. I appreciate that. TY, happy birthday, my guy. Enjoy your content. Keep up the wonderful work. I appreciate it, everybody. I do my best. Scheduling can be difficult. And in all honesty, like the motivation to crack down, like sit down and pump out a video can be hard sometimes, because when you get home and you're done working, you just don't want to do anything else. But I'll do my best. What I want to do, honestly, is really focus more on art, in all honesty. Like, I've always loved drawing my entire life. I've got my art table over here, and one of the things I was thinking of doing, because I've had so many people message me being like, I want to buy a print of your art, but they don't want to like pay for a whole custom drawing. So if I were to like draw a diagram of, say, like the Great Pyramid's connection to the Earth and the Moon in a really cool like graphic way with like, explaining and this has been an idea I've wanted to do for a while, but if I did that and I got prints of that done and mailed all that stuff out, I think it'd be super cool. But like have like a video of me like drawing it and whatnot would be super cool. I just need to like come up with a better way of recording here at my drawing bench. But I would love to do that. I would absolutely love to do that. I'm working on trying to get a new job is what I'm trying to do right now. Because currently right now I am refinishing pianos. And I've been doing that for several months now, but it's just not sustainable. I'm not really making money right now on it. I'm just kind of making by. I'm like just getting by where I'm not losing money, but I'm not making any money. And it all depends on how much I want to work because it's commission based. But I'm thinking about buying this guy's sharpening business. Not thinking about it. I'm going forward with it. Where this dude has this van. Well, it's more like a box truck, like a 1-ton box truck that he like turned into this mobile workshop with all of his sharpening equipment and stuff inside. And this dude just drives around to like salons and restaurants and groomers, and all he does is sharpen their scissors and knives and clippers and stuff like that, and makes a decent amount of money. And in my area, there's nobody around doing that, apparently. It's him and these two other people that don't have a very good reputation. But this guy that I'm buying the business from has been doing it for like over a decade, and he's really freaking good at it. I went on a, not last week, but the week before, I did a trip with him to this one area, like about an hour away, basically doing cold calls where we just walked into salons and be like, hey, do you have any scissors to sharpen? And he was basically showing me how to do it. And it's a pretty sweet gig. I'm not going to lie. It's pretty dope. It's simple. It doesn't, I'm not going to say it's easy, but it's definitely like, because like for me, I'm very good at working with my hands. My whole life I've been an artist, a sculptor, a craftsman, and I'm really good at using my hands. So it's like kind of second nature to jump in there and do that kind of stuff. And he was like, you're picking this up pretty quick. I'm like, yeah, well, what can I say? But, so I'm trying to work up the money to purchase his business, and I want to try to do that before the end of the year. So I gotta find a way to make a decent amount of money. So we'll see. Thank you to all the happy birthdays. Appreciate everybody. Very, very good. Espen Andre Ilvet. I don't know how to say that. If you do check out the video later, please let me know what you think. It's just a pyramid in Antarctica. Are you talking about the pyramid in Antarctica? Is that what we're talking about? I don't see a previous comment from you, so I'm going to assume. Yeah, I don't know if we can say that that's a man-made structure, if that's what you're talking about. The pyramid in Antarctica, to me, if you look at it on Google Earth, it literally looks like just a... It has the corners of a pyramid, but the way the rest of the mountain range comes down to it. In fact, let me see if I can find it real quick. Hold on. So we can just look at it together. Google Earth. Let's go to the goggle. The goggle globe, the Google Earth. So we can get like an aerial view. Because what you need to do... Uh-oh. Can I not do Google Earth and stream at the same time? Looks like it was lagging there for a second. I think we're okay, though. Okay. Come over here. And put you on this. There we go. Google Earth. So, Antarctica. Now, I'm going to see if I can find this without having to look it up. I used to be able to. Hold on. I just gotta get my bearings. Hold on. Orient this north. There we go. It's in this complex. Alright, I'm gonna need to look up the coordinates. Let's see. Take a pyramid. Coordinates. Type these bad boys in. I was semi-close. That does not look like it's it, though. Okay. Maybe not. Man, look how much the ice has retreated here. That's nuts. Well, those are the coordinates it's given me. That does not exactly look like... I mean, I think this is the formation we're talking about here. You can see this. Yeah, this is it. And the snow is kind of melted off of this, so you can see it better. You can see the triangle right here. Yeah, that does not look like a man-made structure to me. If this is the correct location, which it looks like it is, based off of this right here. So I'm going to go with no. That is not a man-made structure. But who knows? I'm not going to completely rule it out that humans were not on Antarctica, but I don't think it's likely. Let's just put it that way. My grandfather used to sharpen saw blades and stuff. A lost art. Oh yeah, and that's one of the things. It's definitely one of those very niche things. Like there's nobody doing it right now. The same thing like with people refinishing pianos. There's nobody doing it right now, especially in my area. So like, they don't want, like, the guy who is, having me do the pianos really doesn't want me to leave, but I just can't. I'm not making any money there is the problem. And I was out sharpening with this guy, and we made a decent penny just in one day, and he split the money with me. And if I made all the money we made that day and kept working because we didn't do a full day, I can make some decent money. Don't sell a kidney. I'm not going to sell a kidney there, Doc Mac. Whose flag is behind you? That flag was flown over the Capitol building on the day I earned my Eagle Scout. So it's not somebody's, it's my flag. Nobody died. So thankfully that, but my parents got that for me for earning my Eagle Scout. So that's why I put that over there. So nobody died. Don't worry about it. Tanya, I can't believe you're going to do that. That's been one of my ideas I'll never do for a while now. Good luck to the paleontology school at lunchtime. Heck yeah. I read a paper in Doc Mac. I read a paper in college that said the Earth's poles have shifted, and what is now the South Pole used to be just land, and humanity most certainly had settlements there. Here's the issue with that. If the pole, like, if we're talking north and true south, that's like the point of where the Earth's, like the axis in which the Earth rotates, right? It's basically like, you know, if you were to put like a pole through the Earth, like a globe, that would be the actual rotation. So if the rotation of the Earth was different, and the poles, the axis poles were literally somewhere else, the event to change that orientation, that direction, that momentum of the Earth would be devastating. Just the tsunamis alone. We're not even talking about earthquakes or anything. Just the tsunamis of the oceans being disrupted and the motion of them changing would be bad. So it's hard to say if the poles have changed. And if they did, it would have happened a really long time ago, very likely before humans were around. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if I can buy that. But if we're talking magnetic north and south pole, absolutely. That stuff changes way more, like often, and it can happen on a just like that. And that's really based off of the sun and its effect on the planet. Brought to you by Didan. Happy birthday, brother. I appreciate it, my guy. Yo, Overwatch guy. Yeah, I am the Overwatch guy. For those of you who don't know, before I, basically went viral on everything on TikTok and YouTube and everything like that, I would get on Overwatch and just chat with people. I would have this script that I could go through. Like if you watched my video, Omegle Shattered Reality, that's really close to the script I would do on Overwatch. But I would have people like look up pictures as I explain things to them, and just like introduce them to the idea of civilization being far older, along with cataclysmic events and stuff like that. So super cool. Super cool. I've probably spoken with like thousands of people, like 5 at a time on Overwatch, and they butchered Overwatch. I don't know if any Ocean, you obviously play Overwatch, but wow, Overwatch 2 I haven't played Overwatch in a while because of how bad they did Overwatch. It's bad. This is the one I saw. Okay, hold on. We got coordinates here. We're gonna look at these coordinates from Espen. Copy. Let's come over here. Hold up. That's not taking me anywhere there. Hold on. Get rid of this. Okay. Try to type that out better, Espen, so I can just copy paste it, because that's just taking me into the middle of the ocean. The way it's... Let me just try it again. Hold on. Maybe I don't see why this wouldn't work. Yeah, I'm not getting any results just by searching those coordinates there, Espen. So give it another shot. Yeah, the poles shifted by only a few hundred miles. If it was like if it was a slight shift like that, maybe. But like you get the people that say that the Great Line of ancient sites used to be the pole. Let me pull that up real quick. Project Great Circle. Let me turn off clouds and stuff. Hold on, I'm almost there. Clean. Okay. Come back over here. Window. Turn this off. Don't need that. Go away. Window. Bam. All right. The Great Line of ancient sites. So we're oriented north. This line is at 30 degrees from the current equator. And if that used to be the old equator, that is quite the shift. Okay. That would have been a bad day to be alive if that was the old equator and the Earth ended up changing into where it's at currently. But this is what I plotted out So how I did this was I first started on the Great Pyramid of Giza, going right across the top, just like that. Made a line, connected that dot. Then I went around to Easter Island. Bank, put it right through the middle of Easter Island. And then right back around to the Great Pyramid of Giza. This is how you make the Great Line. Okay. And then this is how close these other sites are to the line. So we got Petra right here, the treasury in this canyon, which is, let's see how far away it is from the line. If we were to say like this line is like dead center of the line, that is about 50.5 miles from the line, okay? And I think the furthest one from the actual line is the ziggurat, but I could be wrong. Hold on, let me look. Pretty sure everything else is pretty close. Like you get, Sukatoya, that's almost dead accurate on the line. Paye. But here's the thing you also got to realize. Let me come back over here real quick. Sure, the temples themselves are not directly on the line, but you have to think of there was a civilization existing in this area. Okay, we're not just focusing on one little temple. Sure, I put it directly on the Great Pyramid and on Easter Island, but that's just to create the line. We're talking like these were like hubs of civilization existing in these areas that people kept coming back to over and over again, kind of situation. And so you get people that are like, oh, well, that's not a perfectly on the line. Well, okay, maybe geography of the area did not allow you to put your temple exactly where you wanted to. Perhaps the mountain was way too steep in this one spot, so we had to put it in the valley down the road. Who knows? But it shares a line. And then you get the people that are like, oh, well, I can put a line around the planet and hit several McDonald's. It's like, okay. But are those McDonald's spaced apart using the golden ratio? 1.618? Like if you took the distance from one McDonald's to the other and multiplied it by 1.618, are you going to find another McDonald's? No? Well, there you go. Whereas you can absolutely do that with at least five sites on this line. I have tried to do the math to see if it connects with any others, and I have yet to find a connection yet. But back to I don't know. It's just odd that we have this remarkable connection between the pyramids in Egypt to Easter Island and everything in between. Okay, like Ollantaytambo, like basically is almost directly through the line. Like this is Ollantaytambo. You can see. Let me get my orientation right here. Yeah, so I forget exactly what. Oh, yeah, there we go. So the Temple of the Sun is up here in this area right here. Okay, and the line is just bank right there, just right on the other mountain ridge. Now, one thing about Ollantaytambo, and if you guys don't know what Ollantaytambo looks like, let's look at this. So, Ollantaytambo. So we get polygonal stone masonry, and the Temple of the Sun, which looks like these stones right here. Pretty decent sized big blocks, okay? One of the things that people I see, like Uncharted X talks about, is like, how do they get these blocks up this mountain? And this is one thing that I spoke about as well. But if you look here, so this is where those blocks are. So right here. You see this right here? This is a ramp that goes all the way down the side of this cliff right here. And then over here is the quarry. This is the quarry area where they got those blocks from right here. So they had to come down this mountain here, across this waterway right here, across this valley, which obviously is now farmland. Then they start down here and then drag those blocks up the cliff, up this ramp right here, until they get to where they are located right there. So that's how they got them up that hill, by that mountain steep, by the way. Because, you know, when you get there, you're introduced to the area from this direction. You first see the terraced hill right here, and then you climb up, and then you get to here, and you're like, oh my gosh, how did they get these blocks up there? It's like, well, there's a ramp right there. But anyway, this is where let's see, the hummingbird of the Nazca Lines. So there's the hummingbird, the Nazca Lines. And the Nazca Lines are just weird, guys. Like what the heck is going on? What's with the lines? Like, who just decided to take a stick out in the desert and create these freaking lines? Like, what? And they're so long. Like, how long is this? This one right here. This big, thick one right here. Let's measure this. From where I see it. Starts about right here. And it goes, I guess, roughly, that's 6.3 miles, just right there. That's not even the longest one. Hold up. Restart. This one right here is way longer. Well, that's because that's an actual road. JK. But the Nazca Lines are so weird. And, you know, you get the geoglyphs, which is like the hummingbird, which is, you know, you can kind of see it. You see the wings right here, and then the beak of it right there. Got the geoglyphs, but then you just have like, what the heck is this? What is this? No, I do not believe that they are landing pads for anything. No, but the idea that, I mean, what if these were ancient roads? That's one thing that kept coming to my head. You know, what if these are like roads? Like, if you were to look at a city map and take away all the buildings, you know, sure, like we do it in like square grid patterns. I have no idea. Like, this is a center point. Like, look at how they all converge into this one spot right here. Like, what the heck was right here? And why are like some of them like these thicker lines and some? I have no idea, guys. I have no freaking clue. I saw this one crazy idea, and it is crazy idea, that they were this one dude like figured out like that you can find like certain special angles in there, but I mean, of course you're going to find angles of like 30 degrees or like 60 or 90 degrees in there. Like, it's just inevitable because of how crazy it is. But like, what if this was like, who was it? CF Apps. He did a video on his channel where he like extended all of these lines outward, and it looks like latitudinal. What's the word? Latitude lines, whatever the correct word is for that, going all around the planet, and it's pretty cool. I love, but the Nazca lines are just nuts. I have no idea what they are, but they're so cool. Let's come around here. So how much? We have no idea if there's anything on this landmass. Who knows what could be in here? I know there's some structures on some of these islands. I forget exactly which one, but I don't know how close they are to the line. Then we got Prevahair, Angkor Wat. By far the most beautiful temple ever is Angkor Wat in Cambodia. Like, it's just so gorgeous. This whole complex is massive. Like, the length of this right here is about a mile. And they had to, like, the engineering it took to build this so that temple didn't sink into the marshy land is just amazing. And it's so beautiful. I love that temple so much. Huge complex. But like, this whole area was a massive civilization. Okay, also, by the way, Indonesia, okay, Sundaland, and Graham Hancock goes over this in his series Ancient Apocalypse, okay? All of this used to be one gigantic continent above water. And all we have now are like the highest points that were just high enough to where they didn't get submerged when the ocean levels rose by 400 feet. But what was going on in this whole area? You know, if you were a civilization living right there, and after the Younger Dryas, everything went underwater. Your whole entire world is now underwater. Where did it go? And so if you survived, you would float for days until you finally hit land or a little island or something. Oh. So the idea that like the stories of the biblical flood are completely impossible are just such nonsense in my brain, especially after listening to Randall Carlson. Mohenjo-Daro, very curious location. Very curious location. Some of the writing that we have found in Mohenjo-Daro looks strikingly similar to stuff we find on Easter Island. But to get back to the original point, which was the tilting of the poles. Let me come back over here. I mean, maybe if like a several miles to 100 miles max, maybe, I have no idea. But I mean, the amount, the force it would take to shift the Earth's actual axis to a different location without disrupting the entire ecosystem and causing just complete chaos to where life would be no longer sustainable on the planet, that would be it'd be really big. Really, really big event. Who knows? I'll come back down here real quick. Okay, let me S-spin. Got to look up these coordinates. All right, now they're working. Zooming in. Oh, yeah, that's it. Okay, I don't know what the heck. All right, let me come back over here. I don't know what coordinates I was getting at before. That is definitely it. So, got this obvious triangular shape. But my thing is, like, see how it trails off down the sides, and then you have this mountain ridge here that comes into it? Nobody's been there. You know, nobody's actually seen this place firsthand, other than, like, satellite images. And all the pictures you see that looks like somebody's taking a picture of it on the hillside is just not, those are not real as far as I understand. But it's just curious to me that you have these mountain ridges come into this whole thing, and then you have this structure here. And I just don't feel like those lines are, the only straight lines are this one, in my opinion. Looking at this, oops. Like, that is not a straight line, and neither is that, obviously. The only straight line is this one. And you know, we got so much snow covering this. What does this thing actually look like when there's no snow? Now, it is curious, though, that we do have, like, what looks like a line right there, but again, that could just be how the snow's laying down on this thing. I don't know. I do not know. Thank you for those coordinates, though. I don't know what the heck I was looking at before, but that was definitely not it. I mean, see, like this right here? This is a triangular shape, but, you know, that's obviously not a pyramid structure right there. But who knows? I don't know. It's hard to say. It's hard to say. We can only speculate, unfortunately. Always awesome. God bless, brother. Stay safe. Thank you, Prepped Review. Surge 1226. Just like if we built a base in the moon, we would build it right in between the sunny side and the dark side, simply due to temperature. I mean, regardless, you're going to get one side cooked and one side that's not cooked. You're not going to really want to build it anywhere past the edge of the moon, because then you won't be able to have any radio signal being sent from the moon back to Earth. So it's got to be on the sunny side, or like facing Earth no matter what. And regardless, you're going to get cold or really hot no matter what you do if we end up on the moon. Which hopefully we get there soon enough. Soon, like in my lifetime would be great. That way we can just like smack all of the flat earthers in the face with that. Of course they're going to still deny it, but what are you going to do? Brought to you by Dedeen. I think the current understanding was that was caused by a massive meteor that entered our atmosphere and exploded, causing widespread impacts all across Northern and South America, ultimately leading to extensive fires, flooding, and geographical shifts due to the amount of smoke and ash in our atmosphere. Are we talking about the Younger Dryas? Hold on, I gotta come back up here. Yeah, yeah, you are. Okay. Um, Definitely the Younger Dryas would not be enough to cause any tilting or shifting of the Earth. The whole idea of the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis is that they were air bursts, not necessarily objects, like maybe a few really big objects plunged into the ice sheet, the Laurentide ice sheet sitting on top of Canada. But most of the impacts were just air bursts. So just imagine like thousands of nuclear bombs going off in the like 5 miles above the ground. That'd be a bad day. That would suck so bad. It'd be absolutely like just I would love to see the visuals of that, like in a movie, of just like oh my gosh, it'd be so crazy. Mm. Mm-mm-mm. Thank you to all the happy birthdays. Appreciate it, everybody. Y'all are great. Ocean, yeah, Overwatch went downhill after Jeff left. I agree. They, I don't know what the heck they're thinking. Like them ditching the second tank option, because I was a tank main, okay? Sigma was my schnizzle, okay? And they got rid of the tank, so there was only one tank. Hammond is basically useless. And I'm sorry to everybody who doesn't care about Overwatch, but I'm just going to rant about it for a moment. Hammond is useless. I never really could stand Diva, but she's better than Hammond now. But it's just not the same. It doesn't play the same. It's so much more frustrating. It's like instead of like pumping a bunch of damage into shields to try to break the shields to go fight, now you're just pumping all your damage into the tank that's just immediately being healed by the healer in the background. And if you lose one teammate in a fight, it's over. It's just all over. And it's just not fun. It's no fun anymore. Can't stand it. The poles are being changed right now as we speak, Doc Mac. Yes, the magnetic north and south pole, but not the rotational axis of the planet. Yes, the magnetic poles change often. I actually have a pilot, I actually have a friend who is a pilot who talks about how they have to calibrate their instruments often because of how rapidly the poles are shifting. And the thing is with the poles, it's like it's like a magnet to where, I mean, it is a magnet, but like if you got two magnets, you remember like those like snake egg magnets? I forget what they're called. Clackers, I think is what they're called. You have two of them and you throw them in the air and they like clack together. It's like when you throw them in the air. Well, I mean, imagine like holding one of them and having one of them connected to it. And there's this point where you start to like turn that one magnet and it like there's pressure and pressure and pressure. And then it gets to a point where all of a sudden just snaps and just changes its orientation. You know, like a 180. That's kind of what the North and South Pole are. It's like it's this point where it's going to force itself to move, and then all of a sudden just one day it's going to snap, and it's going to be real bad. It's slow and gradual until it's not. We saw blue orbs over Baghdad in 2008, a few weeks before Christmas. Our Harris radios and satellites downlinks were all cut at the same times. We saw them. I was a 13F. My job was literally to observe. The shift would be an event. The Great Flood story in many cultures would coincide with some earth-shattering event like pole shifts. Dude, I totally want aliens to show up and just like be like, yo, you all need to calm down. Y'all need to stop what you're doing. Calm down. Either that or go full like War of the Worlds and just like wipe us out, because just what the heck are we doing right now? I would love for that to happen in my lifetime. But my buddy, who is also a pilot, weird stuff. Some of the stories he's got. The train at 1919. I mean, civilizations would thrive in nearly identical climates, so it makes sense they'd be on a nearly perfect equatorial line. Yes, you're not wrong. But the Great Line is not exactly an equatorial line in my book. I believe that the equatorial or the wow, why is this phrase escaping me right now? The precession of the equinox has been around, I believe, since before humans were really a thing. And because humans have been using that precession to calculate for a long time now. Like the great year, the zodiac, is a very, very ancient concept. And that cycle has been happening for a very, very freaking long time. And I believe that humans knew, like, the same way we have seasons in our year, like winter, spring, summer, fall, I believe that there are seasons. Randall Carlson has a great bit on this. There's seasons within the great year to where sometimes it's like summer and things are going great. Things are nice and smooth. But then you hit the season of winter in that great year and it can be really, really catastrophic and bad. And we have been in a very stable and calm year cycle so far, and could possibly be going into a very rocky territory, I guess you could say. But that knowledge has been around because humans have gone through it over and over and over again and remembered it and, recorded it and passed that information down to their offspring. And this information has been preserved for so long into the zodiac and all the myths and legends and architecture to try to warn us that, hey, there's a lot going on outside of this little bubble we're in, and you got to pay attention to it. Otherwise, it's going to get real bad, and you won't be ready for it at all. Like the whole story of Atlantis, take it as a metaphor, that's fine. But the idea is that the people lost their connection to the universe, essentially. And because of that loss of connection, the universe came and just wiped them out hard, just smacked them down. And it's not necessarily that the act of not paying attention is what caused the event. More so, the act of not paying attention resulted in them not being ready for the event. The event was going to happen no matter what. It's just they weren't completely unaware and not ready for it to happen. Because they thought everything would be fine and everything would be hunky-dory, kind of like we've been for a very long time. And then, COVID kind of smacked us all in the face, especially after all the lockdowns. And, whoa, we're really vulnerable. And, things can change really quick. And they do. They absolutely do. Surge 1226. Maybe the Earth was colder back then, so most civilizations lived near the equator. Absolutely. The equator would definitely be the place to be, but Randall Carlson has a great idea. Let me come back over here to my Google Earth real quick. So the actual, if we come over here, during the Ice Age, so we have the thermohaline circulation, which is like all the waters coming from the pole, like the South Pole, come up into the equator and they wrap around here and they come up here and they come back down here. And there's this big cycle that goes on through the Atlantic Ocean, right? Well, all these warmer waters are wrapping around this spot right here. And what's right here? The Azores. The Azore Plateau. Okay? And there is evidence to suggest that this whole triangular shape was a mini continent or large island during the Ice Age. Now, you'll get people say that, oh, no, there's no studies to suggest that. But Randall Carlson has an awesome presentation on his HowTube channel. Highly recommend to go to howtube.com, Randall Carlson, and look at his Atlantis series. I think it's I forget how many hours. It's at least 7 hours of him going over all of his information, basically, for Atlantis and where he thinks it is. Because what he does is that he actually reads Plato's writing through his Critias and Timaeus, stories, and uses the books to point the direction as to where Atlantis is. And what does Plato state? Plato states that past the Pillars of Heracles, or the Straits of Gibraltar, you would come to a bunch of islands. Let me come back over here to Google Earth real quick. Okay, the Straits of Gibraltar, or the Pillars of Heracles, are right here. Okay, it's the opening between the Atlantic Ocean and the Mediterranean. Okay, so if you go west past the Pillars of Heracles, you'll come to a bunch of islands, and boom, what do we find? Islands. Look at this. We got some islands right here. Okay, and then past those islands, you would come to the true ocean. Is what I could be getting that language wrong, but the real ocean is kind of what he describes. And then you would come to Atlantis. Boom. He never says to go south. If you were, he never says go west out of the Pillars of Heracles and then go south. you would have to go south to get to the Recot structure, which is right here. You know, Jimmy with Bright Insight really talks about this structure a lot. He does a really good, compelling argument for it, but he has to completely deviate away from Plato's writings to get to the Recot structure, because Plato states you have to go west. You have to keep going into the Atlantic Ocean, and then you find this right here, these islands. And these islands obviously would have been much bigger during the Ice Age, when ocean levels globally were 400 feet lower. So that, with, you know, that giant landmass that would have been there, along with the thermohaline circulation wrapping around this, the warm water consistently wrapping in this area, this would have been a tropical paradise right here in this little spot. And that is now all completely gone. So honestly, what we need are marine surveys, way more marine surveys done in this area, and, you know, marine archaeology, to say whether or not Atlantis didn't exist or not. Because Randall Carlson puts his bet on the Azores Plateau, and I would probably follow Randall Carlson's opinion on that in my book. But who knows? Who knows? Okay, let's see. Surge 1226. Just like if we built a base. Oh, I already read that. JK. Fernando Alvarado. Greetings. How's it going, man? How's it going? Thank you so much. The asteroid could have caused a massive wobble, landed in the ocean along the fault line. I mean, could have. We don't know. Extensive fires, flooding, geographical shifts. Yeah, Younger Dryas. Hashtag Orion lines. Nice. Ooh, my whole thing just shifted. Thank you to all the birthday wishes. Appreciate it, everybody. Let me... Oh, okay, there we go. I found it again. Let's see. Brought to you by Dadine. What are your thoughts on Carlson's bomb on Rogan about experiments in the Maldives? I think it's how you pronounce that. I know I've heard him talk about that. In relation to Tesla's work that will revolutionize our understanding of friction coefficients and sound waves. I'm so sorry I'm botching that word right now. It's long past overdue, in all honesty, and it's probably because it's been suppressed. I have actually spoken with Randall Carlson about that before he went on Joe Rogan podcast and dropped that on you guys, which was kind of cool. I had been like, oh my gosh. He has explained some things to me that is difficult for me to understand, but it's like, if everything works the way he explained it to me and the way these guys are explaining it to him, oh wow, guys, it's going to be amazing. But I can't talk about that. Okay, sorry. It blows my mind that only 31 people are currently interested in this man's amazing analysis. Well, I mean, some people come and go. It's just how it is. I appreciate that, though. Wishing you a very happy birthday from Jairi. I appreciate the happy birthday wishes. Okay, my bad. Doc Mac, the biblical flood obviously didn't flood the whole of the earth, but for people would live their entire existence in the same square 500 miles, it would feel like their whole world was flooded. Absolutely. Absolutely. Al Packard, happy birthday, brother. You are the man. Hope you have a good day and another healthy year. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Al Packard. We need some super chats for this man's birthday. I appreciate that, Doc Mac. Okay. Has anyone heard of the megalithic pole shift that happened on a 12,000 year cycle? Yes, I have. I don't know a whole lot of info about that. I know Randall Carlson has spoken about it some. I love Randall Carlson's work, by the way. Can't get enough of it. Amazing, amazing, brilliant man. I would say it's like our poles are shifting and they're becoming unstable, I guess you could say. And because of that, it kind of ties into like, I wonder if this, disruption in the magnetic field of the planet could be maybe affecting the climate. Absolutely, I would say. And it's like, if that's the case, then all these things that we're screaming and complaining about that we're doing, maybe we are not having the effect these people think we're having. It's a natural thing. It's always been a natural thing, but they want to control your life because of it. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I saw your IG post and you're amazing. Thank you, Pixel Killer. Happy B-Day. Thank you so much. Temple of the One. Howard Prophet. Do I see 3 structures? Maybe more. We're talking about the Antarctic Pyramid, I think. On the moon, it's easier to heat than to cool. That makes sense. Are you aware of how Stanley Kubrick called the moon landing? Mm-hmm. We could talk about tacos if I wanted to, but I don't know if I want to talk about tacos. Positive waves. Thank you for showing up and doing. Oh, speaking of waves, let me find this article real quick. That reminds me. Dang it, hold on. I can't remember where I saw it from. One moment. History. Oh, the universe is not locally real. Hold on, okay. So, type that in. Go to Scientific America. The universe is not locally real. Okay, apparently, these Nobel Prize winning physicists, let me go to this real quick. Here we go. Here's the article. Have it basically proven that reality isn't real. It's a perception. And I don't fully understand it completely. I read through this article once. I probably need to do it again. But they basically... Oh, I wonder if there's a summary. One of the more unsettling discoveries in the past half century is that the universe is not locally real, meaning that objects have definitive properties independent of observation. An apple can be read even when no one is looking. Local means objects can only be influenced by their surroundings, and that any influences cannot travel faster than light. So basically, come back here real quick. So basically the whole idea that perception, physically observing something, my understanding, is what manifests things and creates things. If you've seen like the double slit experiment and you understand that a little bit, you'll kind of understand where it's coming from, because you get people that are like, oh, well, like the observation changes the reality. And you get the people that are like, no, it doesn't. And apparently these guys are kind of basically saying, well, actually, yeah, the observation is what creates reality. So like if you were to like, if there's like a box that nothing is observing the inside of the box, apparently nothing exists in the box while everything exists in the box, if that makes sense. I don't know. I'm not a physicist. I'm not a quantum mechanics kind of guy, but reading through that article was just kind of nuts. I'm just like sitting here like, that's just crazy. Existence isn't real until you observe it. That's just, I have no idea. That just blew my mind, and I don't know why that your comment reminded me of that, but it did. So here we are. Pixel Killer, is there an estimated time for the poles to snap on? Well, let's look. Let's see. Let's see what the goggle has to say. No one knows exactly when the next pole reversal may occur, but scientists know they don't happen overnight. They take place over hundreds of thousands of years. In the past 200 years, Earth's magnetic field has weakened about 9% on a global average. Okay? So it's not like, I might have explained it slightly incorrectly. It's not like it's going to snap overnight. True. You know, I did know, like, but it's like when it decides to finally happen, it will cause major shifts in the climate of the planet. Like things will just go crazy, and people will be like, "What the heck is going on?" Like, for example, like birds migration, they use the magnetic field of the planet, and because that thing has been shifting, all the places they have been going to, you know, migrate and, you know, reproduce will be all sorts of screwed up if that were to happen. But we don't know when it's going to happen, or they do know when it's going to happen, and they're just not telling us because they don't want everybody to freak out. Taylor, that is a lie. Overwatch 2 is the best game ever made. It's a gift to humanity. Wow. Unbelievable. That's insulting. In all honesty. Shame on you. Trent Osborne. Funny how deep into this stuff I was before 2 years ago, and even last year, if I'm honest. But after everything, the Euphrates River and the scorpions that plagued Egypt, no diving into Jesus and God. Okie dokie. I think aliens are just humanity from the past or future. See, we can only hope so, I guess. I don't know. Because if aliens are bipedal, or like, you know, like upright with 2 legs, 2 arms, 2 eyeballs, that's that's some kind of relationship to us in some way. It's got to be, in my book. Absolutely. Like, I mean, if aliens were to show up and they had like 8 legs and just, you know, crazy skin with scales and fur and weirdness, sure, totally weird extraterrestrial. But all of these ideas that aliens look like us in some way, just a weird human being, suggests that they would be related to us in some way. That's the only way that would make sense in my brain. But hey, what are you gonna say? Fernando, I'm forwarding my research to the individuals that are and have attacked Graham in the past, major universities as well, crickets. To acknowledge me is to accept my premise. And I still am going through that. It's just going to take me some time, Ferdinand, okay? This guy sent me an email with this huge presentation on all this research he's been doing, Fernando, and it's like, whoa, okay. I'm gonna have to really sit down and pay attention to this to really fully understand it. Trent Osborne, this is just so not even worth the time, guys. The alien reptile serpent in the garden. What are we talking about? Signs of the times and river is dry. How about explain it? I cannot. The vastness of space makes other worldly creatures hard to fathom, but creatures from our solar system or Proxima. Love, Forjan. The great year thing, 4 great seasons would go along with Hinduism, 4 stages of Kali. Absolutely. Wouldn't that be interesting? Isn't that interesting? And like, you know, Kali, like the years of Hinduism, I'm pretty sure like 864,000 years. Hold on. Is it 86,400? I forget. but like you get numbers that pop up within like the years of the Kali Yuga that are numbers like, you know, the diameter of the sun or how many seconds are in the day cycle. It's just like, why do these numbers just keep popping up all the time? It's weird. Iffy waffle. Yes, Ronald Carlson is too detailed not to have nailed it. The thing is, one of the things that I've tried to been tasked with Randall Carlson, because he has such a remarkable wealth of knowledge, and the thing is with his videos, they are extremely long format stuff. You have to like really dedicate a decent amount of time to get through a video to fully understand the concepts that he's trying to put forward, right? And most people don't have the attention span. So why I feel like one of the reasons why, you know, I got so popular so fast is because I've basically what I've done is been taking his along with some other people's work and trying to condense it down into as short a format as possible to get the main point across. And it's worked really relatively well for me so far. I've got 200,000 subscribers here on YouTube. Never in my life would I have imagined having 200,000 subscribers on YouTube. That's just crazy. Thanks, guys. But I can only recommend you've got to go watch Randall Carlson's work. Also, SGD Sacred Geometry Decoded. I did an interview with him not too long ago. I'm going to have him back on the channel as well because there is just so much I could talk about with that guy as well. And he is one of those underappreciated channels. He does not have enough subscribers. So SGD Sacred Geometry Decoded. Go subscribe to him. He right now he's doing a whole bunch of videos on megalithic construction and like cutting stone, moving stone, and all that kind of stuff. Really great research on his end and really great presentation style. He's Australian and he can be, I wouldn't say long-winded, but he kind of gets lost in his own thoughts sometimes, I would say, but not in a bad way. It's just how he is. He's a great guy, love his work, and he does get a little feisty with some specific other content creators here on the YouTube that push the whole advanced civilization thing. Because here's the thing, guys. When I first started diving into all this ancient history stuff, you are exposed to channels that put forward the idea that there was a super advanced civilization before the current civilizations we have today, right? We're talking civilizations with remarkable capabilities of drilling and cutting through stone on a level that we cannot today. And when you first dive into all this kind of stuff, their content is extremely appealing, extremely well put together, and their arguments are very compelling, right? And if that's all you're exposed to, that's what you're going to believe. But until you look at the other arguments and the actual experiments and observations and studies and data showing that these methods are able to be done using primitive techniques, you really kind of have to go, oh wow, I was a little bit gullible, wasn't I? And I was one of those people that was absolutely gullible with that kind of content. And, you know, you have to, when introduced with more correct information, you've got to change your position. And if you don't, you're just dishonest. But SGD Sacred Geometry Decoded basically kind of, you know, popped my bubble when it came to that. He kind of brought me down to earth again and was like, nope, these things can be done with the ways we have been explaining. It's just the actual academics have done a absolutely horrible job of making the arguments known, presenting it, and countering the misinformation, I guess you could say. But that was a long-winded thing to get back to. Love Randall Carlson's work. SGD Sacred Geometry Decoded. Another good YouTube channel is an academic apologist is what I would call him. Is dang it, let me find it real quick. I forget it. Antiquity. Okay, World of Antiquity. Okay, if you want like The straightforward, what is the academic position? World of Antiquity is the guy I would go to. Let me show you his channel real quick. World of Antiquity. This is him. I was in one of his videos. This is a little tiny segment not too long ago, which was kind of entertaining. Which he didn't understand the video I was making, and he used it in his video, which was kind of funny. And I was like, well, I don't know if you could say, anyway, doesn't matter. But if you want the straightforward academic position of a lot of this stuff, really good information from World of Antiquity. Might as well while I'm here. Let's just type in this, SGD, Sacred Geometry Decoded. Love this guy's channel. SGD, Sacred Geometry Decoded. Go follow him. Great stuff. Really good. Okay, here we go. Here's my shout out. Oh, wait, I got another one. Hold on. Secrets in Plain Sight. This is one that SGD got me onto. Another really, really good channel. Oop, got volume, shush. Really, really good stuff. So there's some 3 YouTube channels. And if you want Randall Carlson's YouTube channels, Cosmographia. Highly recommend Cosmographia from Randall Carlson. Really good stuff on there. And his older channel, Geocosmic Rex. This channel, when I discovered this channel back in like 2015, it blew my freaking mind. Like, Randall Carlson has so much remarkable work. Ugh, it's so good. It's so good. I truly can't get enough of it. I've watched so many of his videos over and over and over again. Oh, it's just remarkable that man was able to accumulate so much knowledge just from going to the freaking library, for Pete's sakes. Like, we're talking like before the internet kind of research, guys. Before you could sit down and just type in whatever you wanted and it would just pop up in front of you. The dude had to go actually find it, which is just, it's just amazing. It's so cool. Okay. Oh, by the way, I'm 30 now. It's past 11. So, yay! I'm a 30-year-old man. I don't feel much different than 29, but it's official. It has happened. Nuts. Apparently, I hear it's all downhill from here when it comes to your health. So, keep your fingers crossed. I've been pretty good so far. Every time I go to the dentist, they're like, you're totally fine. Just boring as always. I go to the doctor. You're totally fine. Well, okay, that's great. I'm excited. Hopefully it all stays that way. Lucas Benitez. Why is the Egyptian government so against excavating and exploring the pyramids more? Shouldn't they want to further study it, not just let it sit there and have people wonder? Man, do I wish I knew the answer to that question. I think a lot of it has to do with, like, they don't want to change the status quo. They've got their narrative. They've been making money off of this narrative for a very long time. And for that to be disrupted, I think it's more of an ego thing than anything else. And for them, like, studying the Great Pyramid, it's like they just don't want to damage it, I guess, is the only thing I can think of. Because, like, back, I forget exactly when, they did this discovery that there were, like, supposed voids above the Grand Gallery and above the northern entrance of the pyramid. And if there's voids there, then why aren't we trying to, like, get to them in some way? Why aren't we trying to figure out a way to get... Maybe there is not a way to actually get to these chambers. Like, maybe the pyramids were built in a way to where they entombed something into this pocket inside the structure with no passageways to get to that room. And if that's the case, it's basically impossible to get to that room without destroying the structure. And we really don't want to do that. Like, we don't want to destroy anything. There's been enough vandalism going on for a long time now. And It's hard to say. It's hard to say. What they need to do is begin to more accept the idea that the builders of the Great Pyramid knew way more than what we currently give the Old Kingdom Egyptians credit for. Like, for an example, the diameter of the Earth and the Moon, and the circumference of both of them as well. This is supposedly supposed to be information that didn't show up until the Greeks. But the Greeks learned most of their knowledge from the Egyptians. And the Egyptians learned most of their knowledge from the Mesopotamians. You don't have to have crazy sophisticated technology to discover the dimensions and ratios of the bodies in heaven. This can be done using simple observations that you can just do here on Earth. And the idea that these people were incapable of doing so is just ridiculous, especially after doing all the calculations of the Great Pyramid myself and seeing how close the numbers actually are to the physical objects floating in the heavens. It's just like, man, that is so beyond the realm of coincidence. I just don't know what to do anymore. I don't know. I'm probably going to go for another 15 minutes or so. Because, my back is just killing me right now. Sitting in this chair, sitting up. Ugh. It hurts. 8 serpents. Not sure who proved they could build ancient sites using primitive technology. Are you talking about the 10 people who were able to saw through 0.5-inch granite block with the copper and sand? No, I'm talking about Scientists Against Myth and Sacred Geometry. Scientists Against Myth. Now, this is a German channel. Let me come over here real quick. These guys have done lots of experiments showing the cutting of granite along with SGD Sacred Geometry decoded. Let's just come over here real quick. I'll tell you what. And I've actually myself have started cutting through granite. And if you I can actually go get that and show you guys here in a second. But where is it? He's got a playlist where he has been drilling and cutting through. And he also basically, I guess you could say, debunks a lot of the claims made by some... Where is the darn playlist? Hold on. Not that one. Experiments in Granite. There we go. Here he is cutting. This is how they would drill. You see the drill holes? This is how they do it. And I've actually done this myself. I have drilled through a piece of granite, not all the way through yet because I just don't have the time, but I have drilled through a slab of granite using this technique. And it works. It is doable. I have done it myself. So let me skip to where they show you the core. This is... Here you can see depictions of them. This is actual hieroglyphic right here. You can see the drill right there, making some pottery. Here's another depiction right here. That's an actual drill. And this is SGD right here. This is he marked this, and he was actually getting the RPMs on how quickly he could do that. And you actually don't want to rotate it too fast, because if you rotate it too fast, it doesn't have as good of a cut to it. And what you do is you put sand or corundum, which is a very hard type of mineral and quartz, down into the hole that actually acts as the abrasive. Let me skip ahead here. I don't think he shows... So these are some of the cores he cut out, which are, granted, smaller than core 7, the one that Christopher Dunn uses, but they look exactly like core 7, especially this one over here. But scientists against myth. Let me come back to this real quick. And find their core. Hold on. Wrong video. Give me one moment. There it is. So this is using this technique. See that? Skip ahead. You can see that that's the core that they're cutting out of this pretty decent chunk of granite. And these guys are, I forget if they're German or Russian, I forget. You can see the holes that they drilled right here in the back. And this is one of the cores. And skip ahead to where they break the core out. That looks just like a short version of core 7. There you go. See the serrations? I'll pause. Look at the serrations in the side. Can we zoom in here? Oops. Whoa. Go away. No thanks. See the serrations? Okay. Supposedly impossible. There they are. So skip ahead. They do a close up. This is the end of the drill that they were using. Copper drill. And okay, also here we have a tapered. See how it creates like a triangle in here? That's because of the wobble of the, well, what's my timestamp? 1723. If you look at him doing this, see how it wobbles back and forth as they spin it? That's what creates the taper, is that human error, that human wobble back and forth is what creates the taper. Okay, I'll come here. Bam. See the serrations? I'm hoping you can see that well enough, but it's not 500 times more efficiently than our modern day technology. And they also have experiments done where they cut a piece of granite in half. SGD, Sacred Geometry Decoded, has it where he smooths out pieces of granite to a completely dead flat finish, more flat than the boxes of the Serapeum in Saqqara, Egypt. And those boxes are not as precise as what most channels talking on the subject will have you believe. For example, if we come over back to SGD, Sacred Geometry Decoded, he just put out a new video talking about this. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Let's go to videos. And here we go. So people got down inside the boxes. Is this the right video? No, this is the wrong video. I'm sorry. Hold on. Where'd it go? There it is. So there's Christopher Dunn. All right, so this is inside one of the granite boxes in Saqqara. Supposedly dead flat surfaces, right? This square is right up against the wall right here and touching the bottom of the box right here. Look at how it lifts off the ground. This is a straight edge, completely straight. See the shadow underneath there? If that was dead flat, that should not be a thing. It should not do that if that floor was dead flat. See it? See how it sticks? Look how far it sticks up over here, okay? Not dead flat. Also, let's come over here. Hold on. All right, look at that. There you go. Completely flush up against the wall right here. Touching over here. This is the same spot that Christopher Dunn measured. Look how not flat that is. Look at the light coming out from underneath there, okay? Super high precision, okay, is what we're told. Beyond our capabilities today is what we're told. Yet these observations do not align with that at all. Come over here real quick. Okay. Look at that. So he's got the light right here. See how he's got the light underneath this? See how there's a little blurb of light right there? That means that that wall is not dead flat. Also, look at look at how wavy the stone is right here, okay? If that was dead flat, you would not have this wavy effect to this stone right here, because this is not as high precision as we are led to believe by many channels. Okay, look at that. See, it's touching right here. It's touching in the corner, but you have this gap in between that ruler and the wall. Okay, if that was dead flat, that would not be a thing. And they do it all over the box. And SGD, he goes over this all. See, he lines up so you know where we're talking about. You can see that it's a marker, so you know what part of the box we're at. There it is right there again, okay? And look at it. It's touching over here, but it's not touching over here. It's not even touching the corner over there. So what I would suggest is that if you have this idea that these kind of things are impossible to do with our modern day technology, you've got to go watch SGD's Sacred Geometry Decoded break down these things and explain them and show you the actual proof that no, this is actually absolutely capable with our modern day technology, and that what we would call super high precision in the ancient world is actually not as precise as most as we're led to believe by many channels here on YouTube. But that's up to you. You got to go break yourself out of your own bubble. I had to break myself out of mine, and yeah, it's uncomfortable. You don't want to come out of your bubble because it's comfortable. You think you know it's comfortable to be in a bubble. But if you're in a bubble, you're not actually looking for the truth. And that's the only way to actually know on whether or not somebody, in my opinion, is honest and seeking for the truth, is if they're able to admit that they were wrong and change their mind and be able to, what am I trying to say? Be able to change their opinion and adjust when new, true information is put in front of them. Mm-hmm. All right, we'll go for about another 15 more minutes. We'll go till 12, and then I'm going to call it a night, everybody. Ancient Apocalypse was straight. Ancient Apocalypse was pretty decent. I would say that it's a decent introduction into the subject, I would say. It was a little frustrating for me, though. I'm going to be completely honest. Because Graham doesn't have really any answer for a lot of the things that he brings up in Ancient Apocalypse, other than there was a previous civilization. He doesn't really give the other argument for specific things, I guess you could say. Like, he doesn't. He gives his idea. He gives you a mystery, but then he doesn't give you an academic explanation. And that kind of bugs me a little bit. I'm going to be completely honest. I wish that he would actually try to... Now, granted, a lot of these archaeologists and, academics don't want to talk to Graham Hancock at all. Academics don't want to talk to Graham Hancock at all because they have a massive stick up their butt, because that's what academics, that's just, I don't know why it is, but that's just how it is. So a lot of people don't want to talk with him to begin with. But I feel like if he could get people to actually have, what am I trying to say? I don't know. It was a great TV show. I wish there was more explaining specific things done. Or like, this is their argument, but is that the case? We don't know. I don't know. It was just, there's so many like questions with zero answers whatsoever, and it just kind of felt too repetitive to me. But still, great TV show. Great. I highly recommend everybody watch it, because I think it's just entertaining that it is basically number one, and the academics' brains are just going they're just exploding, and it's hilarious. Didn't you know that it is dangerous? Ancient apocalypse is dangerous. People could die because of Graham Hancock. Oh, let me see if I can find that article real quick. Let's see. Ancient dangerous. This is so funny. The Guardian. All right, look at this. Ancient Apocalypse is now the most dangerous show on Netflix. A show with a truly preposterous theory is one of the streaming giant's biggest hits, and it seems to exist solely for conspiracy theorists. Why has this been allowed? Dun dun dun! Oh gosh, you are just something else, Mr. Stewart Heritage. Oh my gosh, wow, guys, you can't watch it. You can't watch. It's dangerous. It should have. Who's supposed to be the person to not allow such a thing? First of all, like the amount of garbage allowed on Netflix, that's just totally okay. You know, having little girls dance around, totally fine, right? But we can't have an alternative theory on history on Netflix. That's just out of the question. Dangerous. Okay, what are we doing, people? Wow. Wow, the world we live in. I tell you, it's just remarkable. Let's see. I don't know what you guys are talking about right now. I'm not going to scroll up to find out. It's a, so alignments of the stars affect human behavior in real time. You guys talk about astrology right now? I have no idea. Well. Is there a possibility that the pyramids are actually older than believed? I would say yes, because here we go. Let's see. How old is the great? Let's see. Hold on. I remember searching this one thing one time, and it was like carbon dating of like the mortar found in between the stones of the Great Pyramid, and it was like inconclusive or something like that. Archaeologists believe that the work of the old rose promised and that I'll have to find it again. One thing that's fishy though is like the wood. There's a piece of wood found inside of the Queen's Chamber of the Great Pyramid that was rediscovered, and the wood dates to being like 500 years older or something than the Great Pyramid when it was supposedly built. And they're like, oh, well, you know, wood was kind of, you know, a rarity. So they were using like old pieces of wood, but it's like, really? They were using a 500-year-old stick for the Great Pyramid, like in construction of the Great Pyramid, and they just left it inside there. It's like, I don't know, bro. Odd save event Savant, I think it's what he said. Holy gibbers. Are we live right now? Hello from the scorched hellscape outside Phoenix. Hope you're all doing well. Well, I hope you're doing okay in the scorched hellscape outside of Phoenix there, my guy. Yes, we are live right now. Live for about another 10 minutes is what we're going to go on. Appreciate you for joining so far. It suggested they are way older based on water erosion. You're talking about the Sphinx there, Raven. That is the idea. However, geologists have basically said that you cannot date the Sphinx based off of its erosion. Which is kind of like, okay. So, supposedly, the Great Sphinx was dug out of the bedrock. Okay? Then immediately repaired with a bunch of bricks around its edges. Okay? Then the Old Kingdom Egyptian society collapsed and it was basically buried to its neck in sand. Then it was unburied by King Tut, I think is what it was. The stele? Let's see, hold on. He's a stele. Tutmos the Fourth supposedly unburied it. And then at some point after the New Kingdom Egyptians collapsed, it was buried to its neck again. Then partially uncovered in like the late 1700s when Napoleon showed up and was in Egypt, occupying Egypt. They tried to unbury it, but the sand would just flow back into the pit. And then it was reburied. And then finally uncovered again in like the late 1800s. And eventually it was like in the early 1900s to where it was finally completely unburied from the sand. So like literally the majority of its supposed existence has been buried under sand. So how the heck is it getting all of this crazy erosion on there if it's been buried for so freaking long? Completely sealed away, tucked away, unable to be eroded away by any sand, wind, or water erosion. And you're going to come at me and tell me that we cannot date the Sphinx, or at least, give a ballpark on how old the Sphinx is based off of its erosion? I don't know. That's kind of sus. It's kind of sus in my book, in my opinions. Did they explore the room underneath the Sphinx paw? If they have, they haven't told us about it because I haven't heard about it yet. And I got a feeling if they did, that would be some widespread news throughout the, ancient world enthusiasts out there like Bright Insight, Uncharted X, Graham Hancock. Graham Hancock would be on top of that immediately if that were the case. So as far as I know, they have not. But we do know that there are chambers underneath the Sphinx that lead up into it. Bright Insight did a decent video on... Was it Bright Insight? I think it was. Let me confirm that real quick. Just so I'm pretty sure it was. I don't think it was Uncharted X. Yeah, Bright Insight leaked secret photo underneath the Great Sphinx. There is a chamber on the back end, on the butt of the Sphinx that leads into the ground, which is quite interesting. Which is the education level we're at on this channel? Christian Sebastian? I'm not sure what we're talking about there. We're talking like, you want to know like if I have a PhD? Because I don't. I graduated with an associate's degree in graphic design, and I've been a history enthusiast for about going on 7 years now, if that's what you're getting at there. All of the everything on my channel is for my own personal studies. I am not formally educated in the subject, but yeah, that's the education level on this channel. There you go. I don't know who Lance is there, Christian Sebastian. I would say that the Sphinx is older. I do believe that. I believe somebody built carved out a statue there, and then it was recarved into what we see today, and had bricks stacked all over it and stuff like that. I do believe that there was an older statue there, and the New Kingdom Egyptian, or I don't know if I would say it was the Old Kingdom or the New Kingdom. It's hard to say. Carved it into the head we see today. Definitely believe that. Because the whole Giza Plateau, I believe, was a hub for people that were there building structures, and that the places that the Great Pyramids sit on right now are older monuments themselves. Whether they were actually artificial monuments or a natural formation turned into an artificial monument, it's hard to say. But I definitely believe that it's not like the Egyptians just rolled in and was like, let's just put it over there. No, it was like these have been sacred places for a very, very, very long time, and they were just further memorialized with the monuments that they ended up putting on there. Sphinx being from a previous civilization, I would put my money on that. In all honesty, I definitely would. I think the idea that we can't date the Sphinx based off of its erosion is kind of nonsensical. Now, granted, I'm not a geologist, but there are geologists that say that given the erosion that we see on it, this is not 4,000 years old. This should be several thousand more years old. And I would agree with that, because just from looking at it, and if you go and look at any other erosion on any of the other structures in Egypt, it's just kind of like nothing else really looks like this. Why does this one thing look this freaking old? And what else is curious is the wind erosion. Well, because there are still casing stones surrounding the base of the Great Pyramid in some areas, and they have been so weathered and worn away. It's just like, wow, is that what that was, a casing stone? That's crazy. I don't know. I don't necessarily know at what rate limestone wears away given wind and sand erosion, but 4,000 years is a long time. But the base of the Great Pyramid was basically covered up for a decent while. So who's to say? I have no idea. But I do believe the Sphinx to be older. How much older is hard to say, but definitely older than what current academics claim. At least the original statue it was carved as. Most definitely. But the damage on the face plus craftsmanship is different than the rest of the body. Absolutely. It's possible that the head was not originally the shape of a human head as it is now. I do agree. It is too small for the body. 100%. Happy birthday, brother. May your day be blessed with love and abundance and prosperity overwhelming. I appreciate that, my guy. Bring on the Google Maps LiDAR version. Of what? What are we talking about, Sons of Mark? Hold on. You know what? I need to get the darn LiDAR. Hold on. Let's see. Google Maps. I'll definitely look into that and try to use that, because I've been wanting to. I've seen Randall Carlson use the LiDAR stuff, and I really just haven't dove into that much yet. What if, and hear me out, here. The Sphinx was what inspired. Okay. It's bedtime, brother. It is, Doc Mac. It is bedtime. It is 12 o'clock. Well, D, you are late here, and we are calling it a night, so I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody for joining me, all 591 of you, with the current 37 current viewers. I appreciate it, guys. I hope you guys have a wonderful holiday. I might do another live stream before Christmas. I don't know. We'll see. I got a bunch of things planned for, not for the channel wise, but there's so much I'm trying to do in the background. I'm trying to buy a sharpening business. I'm going to be sharpening knives and scissors and stuff like that. Getting away from refinishing pianos because I've just had enough of that. But all right, my guys, it's been a pleasure. I appreciate every single one of you. Hope you have a wonderful night, and I'll see you all next time. Later. Thanks, Doc.